Hey, what's
Hello.
up, AJ?
What's up, man?
Just finished cooking pancakes.
That sounds disgusting.
You don't like pancakes?
No, I don't like your pancakes.
Dude. Well, guess what? They're
What?
great because you know why? They're out of a box.
That's what I'm. Bisquick?
No. Some Target brand. But
Ah,
they taste good. At least I like them.
chocolate chips.
No, man. Just regular pancake mix.
You call them? Do you call them buttermilk?
Yeah.
You ever had crepes?
What's that?
You ever had crepes?
Yeah, man. I've never made crepes. I've had crepes. I like crepes.
All right. When I was in Ireland, the lady that owned the house, she made some pancakes for us, and
Oh, yeah?
yeah, well, she goes, "You want some pancakes?" And I was like, "Absolutely, man. I want some pancakes." And come back, it's fucking crepes with honey. I was really disappointed.
Do they not have pancakes in Ireland?
Not like over here. That's buttermilk pancakes are very different than they are over there. They don't. Well,
Huh.
they have this the brand called Made in the USA brand, and you can get pancakes in a box in the freezer section, just like cheeseburgers and shit, like American type food. But no, they don't really have buttermilk pancakes. Over the syrup's really expensive. You can't really get syrup.
Really?
Yeah,
Hmm.
because syrup's like a Canada thing. It costs a lot of
Oh,
money to
right.
import.
That makes sense. Well,
Yeah. So
um, so, man, we got a lot to talk about today, right?
yeah, man. Um,
Uh, I mean, before we get started, just trying to see if we can. I feel like we should have a more of a. Well, who cares? But like, definitely the GSP thing.
oh, dude. Yeah, that pissed me
So
off.
oh, okay. So it pissed you off?
Yeah,
Why?
because it just shows like it just shows like the new business model nowadays. Like they allow him to come back, fight for a title immediately while these other people are waiting in line. He fights for the title, and then just vacates it. And you have all these other people that are like, well, what the fuck, man? We're here for life. I mean, well, not for life, but you know what I mean. Like our mindset's a little bit different. GSP didn't really have to come back. Um, so I just think it was very disappointing
Hmm.
to not see him
See,
follow up.
that's that's interesting, man, because like that's the opposite opinion I have.
Mm.
Like, well, we can discuss it on the show, but
Okay.
like, man, I think that him vacating the title was the best thing he could have done.
For the
Because
middleweight division or
think
for
about it,
him?
You had Bisping tying up that fucking title for 2 years,
Yeah.
right? And now GSP comes in, and in 31 days, suddenly the middleweight division is back to business as usual. You got the actual best middleweight in the world, Bobby Knuckles Whitaker, fighting Rockhold, one of the probably the second best middleweight in the world, in Australia in like less than 2 months.
Yeah, but I
So
think that was
GSP
gonna
sorted
happen
it. GSP
anyway.
fixed it for all of us. I don't know why people are mad at him.
Yeah, but he did fix it in a way, but it would have happened that way anyway. Bobby Knuckles would have beat Bisping, and then Bobby Knuckles would have fought Luke Rockhold at some point.
Right, but I mean, I feel like GSP, one of the greatest of all time, he gave us a special moment,
Yeah.
and then he gets to ride off again. I mean, what did you want? You wanted him to come back and defend his title as long as he
Hmm.
could until he lost?
Yeah, that's what
That's
I wanted.
stupid.
I
That is
wanted
so
him.
stupid. He gets to go out on top now. Still.
Yeah, but as a fan, I want to see how good he actually is.
See, oh man, you saw how good he actually is. You
No, I
saw it.
mean, but
You want to
like
see
with
him against every possible matchup until he
the
can't
whole
fight anymore.
middleweight division. Yeah, I just want to see. Like, I mean, how cool would it be to see him fight like Luke Rockhold or Bobby Knuckles or Yoel Romero?
Oh man,
I'd
but
love to
that's
see that
selfish,
shit.
man. That's selfish.
Yeah, well,
Like,
that's the business that he's in. I mean, that's what it is. We're paying to see entertainment. I mean, that's to me that's entertaining. And either way, if that's what he wants to do, if he wants to ride out in the sunset, that's fine. But the fan reaction is going to be, damn it, we wanted to see the best of all time come back, you know?
We did. We saw the best of all time come back. He fought, he won, and
then
then now he vacates again. You know,
I just think it's kind of disappointing.
It's well, but he was never gonna fight. Okay, let's have this discussion on the podcast.
Okay.
Welcome to the MMA Outsiders Podcast with Andrew Pearson and AJ Hill.
Welcome to the MMA Outsiders Podcast. I'm Andrew Pearson.
I'm AJ Herrick.
And we are in the middle of a lively discussion about the merits of GSP vacating his title. AJ, lay out your position for the listeners.
I'm just disappointed that he left. I think that, like most of us, we wanted to see a little bit more coming from the champ, not necessarily him come out, take the title, first of all, take the title shot. I'm sure there's other people that deserved it based on their accolades rather than, you know, a mid 30 something GSP who took 4 years off, coming back in a completely different division, taking the fight and taking the title, promising all this stuff. He's saying, "Oh, in my contract, you know, it's that's not a Canadian accent, but in my contract, I have to defend the belt." Well, now he is not defending the belt, and yeah, we got a really good fight coming up. But man, it would be kind of cool just to see GSP how good he would do in the middleweight division. I was just very disappointed.
So, I think those opinions are stupid, and I'm going to explain why. I actually wrote an article about this last night. First of all, were you ever really convinced? Did GSP ever promise, yes, I'm going to defend my title against Robert Whittaker? Because I don't think he ever did.
He never specifically said, yes, I'm going to defend it against Robert Whittaker, but when he was asked if he was going to defend the title rather than vacate it, which is what he did, because that people were already assuming that's what he was going to do, he would say, it's in the contract that I have to defend the belt. What he would say. That's how he would answer that.
Which is bullshit to begin with, because the UFC should you should not be able to structure a contract to where he has to defend or vacate. Sure, I mean, Tony Ferguson's been using that hashtag for a long time. I think what GSP did was perfect. I see no downsides, and I can't believe him defending the GSP Bisping matchup. I really thought it should have been his own division. It should have been welterweight. So I think he saw an easier fight at middleweight in Michael Bisping. But, okay, let's start with this. What we're not mentioning at all is GSP has colitis. He almost couldn't fight Bisping. He was throwing up every day. He has a serious like health medical condition from trying to put on so much weight. So middleweight is not a good division for him. So let's start there. You know, if you're disappointed, okay, but GSP's sick, man. Like he couldn't anticipate that he was going to have colitis and it was going to be such a serious issue when he signed up to fight Michael Bisping. He didn't know that. So there's that, A. B, why do we want GSP to fight everyone until he loses? It was never a good idea for him to fight Bobby Knuckles. But you do. You want it okay, how is this different from him retiring from the welterweight division 4 years ago?
It's just the what if scenarios. I think people want to see how he would do in a different division. If he's the greatest of all time,
he would get lit up.
Of course,
he would get lit up by Robert Whittaker, and what he did against Bisping was amazing, but it clearly was not easy. Bisping was landing flush shots in the second round. Man, if Bisping is landing on you, Robert Whittaker is gonna light you up.
Right.
And I know he did incredibly well, but think about the matchup. Robert Whittaker Jacare couldn't hold him down. Yoel Romero couldn't hold him down.
You know what I think it is more than anything, Andrew? I don't think it's necessarily just the GSP thing. I think for me, and I think a lot of people as well, the structure of the UFC's championships are just getting really annoying. And so now we have another vacated champion. You know, first we had John Jones become the champion. Now he's not the champion again. We have how many fucking interims do we have right now? One, two.
So many.
Yeah. And so now we have another legit championship belt vacated, and now it's just I think it's more so for me anyways, just frustrating. It's just like, here we fucking go again, you know. So I don't necessarily think
what
it's
it reveals.
Just what?
What's that?
No, I was just gonna say I don't think it's necessarily just the GSP thing. I think it's just a frustrating thing because there's no set I mean, it's so just wild west all of a sudden. Like, it's no structure of who's the champion, who's the real champion, and the real champions are not the champions anymore. And then we have the interim champions who are fighting for the real champion. It's just frustrating.
You know what it reveals, though? It reveals that, like, how illusory our sense of structure in the UFC is, and it reveals what these championship belts really are, and have always been, which is promotional tools for the UFC. We talked to John Fitch, a few weeks ago now, and he was saying, like, hey man, the belts the UFC has, they're not legal titles. They are like promotional tools that the UFC hands out. And when I listened to the Senate hearing, or the House of Representatives hearing with Congressman Mullen, Mark Wayne Mullen, he was saying the belts that you guys have. What a UFC representative told me is that they're awarded to the best fighter on the night, because really the promoter shouldn't be able to control the belt.
Right.
And when you have a situation where it's not an independent commission, it is not like an entity that exists on its own. Their belts are literally awarded and stripped by them at will, and we've seen this happen before. We saw it happen with Conor McGregor in the featherweight belt. When it became convenient for them, they stripped the belt from him. There's no actual protocol. There's no rule to this. So GSP vacates after 31 days, and you get the sense like, well then what have we been doing? It's all an illusion. Yeah, it's always been an illusion. The difference is, because now it's not business as usual as much as it used to be. You realize that, like, there's no structure. There's no actual, like, protocol or structure or anything that they have to follow. They do it to create a storyline for us, for the fans, for the media, so we can follow along and create this kind of narrative in our minds, and for the fighters too, so the fighters have something to work toward. But that's what they've been. That's what they've always been. And I don't know. For me, even in that context, I don't see the downside here. GSP came back and fixed the middleweight division. That's really what he did. He came back. He took out Michael Bisping, and then Michael Bisping, by the way, who'd been like dodging a legitimate challenger since he won the belt in June of 2016. So a year and a half of just
Bullshit.
Doing nothing. Fought Dan Henderson. Get out of here, man. Barely beat Dan Henderson.
Right.
You had Robert Whittaker, you had Jacare, you had Romero, you had Rockhold waiting for his rematch. You had all these guys hanging around at the top of the division, and Bisping fought none of them. And now he's gone, and guess who's fighting? You got Robert Whittaker, Bobby Knuckles, the best middleweight in the world, fighting Luke Rockhold, another top middleweight. So things are
he actually thought
for the
he was
real
gonna
belt.
beat GSP? Do you think he actually thought he was going to beat GSP?
Who?
Bisping.
Yeah, I think he did think he was going to beat GSP, because, I mean, he could have, like if he hadn't gotten dropped at the end of the third, if he was on his way to a classic Bisping fight where he starts gaining momentum and beating up an increasingly tired, older opponent. Oh, he's older too, but you know what I mean. Like, that's what he did to Kung Lee. That's Bisping's classic strategy. Yeah. And I think that was what made that fight. And we talked about this afterwards. I think that's what made that fight at UFC 217 so compelling, was the fact that we could see it going the other way, and then GSP came out and won the thing, and it was amazing. And but I mean, I don't know. I guess I was intrigued by the possibilities too, but I also was conflicted because GSP is one of the few guys who's ever gone out on top, gone out on a win, and not with his head getting knocked off. And I wanted to keep it that way. And now, who knows? He might go back to welterweight and fight someone. He might fight Conor McGregor. Who knows? Down the road.
So allegedly, that's the plan. Like there's talks in the inside. That's the plan. Fight Conor McGregor, a super fight 170.
I mean, it's a no-brainer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the only problem is, unlike GSP, right? So this is why I think GSP, there's no downside to this. GSP is such a gentleman. If you're gonna go up and do a super fight like that, and you've got an interim title waiting, and you're not healthy, GSP is not healthy to fight at middleweight, or for whatever reason, you can't defend it, then yeah, the best thing to do is vacate. So even if it was kind of shady the way it came together originally, like there were other contenders waiting, he fixed it, like worst case scenario, he fixed his own mistake by vacating, and now he could fight Conor McGregor, getting back to that, the problem with the Conor McGregor GSP super fight is not GSP now, because he has no obligations to defend his belt. It's Conor McGregor holding onto that lightweight crown when he has he's been out for a year now.
Well over.
It's been a year since he won it. And he hasn't done a thing to defend it. So, I don't mind if they do super fights, if they do fun super fights. But you're right that, for the sake of the fans and this narrative that they want us to buy into, they can't just let him hold on to this lightweight title indefinitely.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
At least GSP did what I think is the noble thing and vacated.
Right. We took some time off, and I think, that as soon as Conor won that lightweight belt, that was the first thing he said, in the post-fight. He's like, I'm going to take some time off. I'm having a kid. How many people have kids in that are professional fighters, and they're still training? They're still doing their stuff, I just think he has privilege, obviously so. He has privilege.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think that if you're a fighter who has money, you would do the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, you ever notice the more money that you? I mean, this is how I feel too, just in regular life. The more comfortable you are, the more relaxed you get. The less drive you actually have, because you're even like, let's say like there's a month where I'm doing a little bit better. I'll probably chill more so than I would if I was struggling that month. You know what I'm saying? I think everybody has these experiences in their own ways. So Conor McGregor, very, very wealthy man, still a fighter at heart, but he's not going to be the same as he was when he first started. He's a completely different person in those regards. He's probably partying, chilling, but the question is whether or not he's keeping up with that money, and if he's going to be another Mike Tyson scenario with his funds, or he's going to be an entrepreneur.
I feel like with McGregor, if he doesn't sort out, the UFC got to give him what he wants, man, because they got to get him back in the cage, both for his sake and for their sake as a company, because he's their biggest draw. You got to give the man his equity and get him back in the cage against. I don't care. It could be against GSP. Just get him back in there and get him back focused, because otherwise we're always going to be wondering, what could Conor McGregor have done if he had actually been fighting during his prime?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is a crazy thing to say for the first simultaneous dual weight champion of the UFC. But
yeah. So anywho, we have some UFC fights coming up this weekend. I think there's UFC.
Yeah, we do. And
every week till the new year. Pretty sure there's one every weekend.
Yeah, there is. So you talk about fighters who have kids. Cub Swanson took a little bit of a break, not a Conor McGregor break, but he did. He took a little bit of a break to have a child of his own, and he talked about how kind of motivated that makes him. And he, oddly enough, he says he feels better. Like he feels better, like healthier. And yeah, he's coming back to fight T City Brian Ortega
Yeah.
in the main event of UFC Fresno. How do you see these guys matching up?
Well, Brian Ortega, Brian Ortega is a Henry Gracie jiu-jitsu practitioner. You know that, right? Black belt.
Oh yeah, man, they're with him in his fights. Hey, didn't he borrow a Gracie catchphrase? I want to. If there's a man who can beat me, I want to meet him.
Yeah. Well, he has an interesting story. I don't know if have you ever heard about his upbringing and stuff.
Not really, man. Enlighten me.
He's got some. So he grew up in California, very troubled youth, getting into fights and stuff, and started doing jiu-jitsu when he was younger. But it was kind of Henry Gracie was kind of his mentor as a kid. But yeah, just typical changing life around through martial arts story. And he's currently undefeated. Very, very good mixed martial artist and jiu-jitsu practitioner. I see Cub Swanson winning this, though. I don't think he's fought some good guys. I just don't. I don't know. I just don't see him matching up. I mean, he might match up pretty well, but I just the experience factor I think is going to get is gonna pull through. I mean, how many 5-round fights has Cub Swanson been in?
Oh man, we watched him fight live against Jeremy Stevens over 5 rounds, and that was definitely an experience thing, pulling out that win. Yeah, man.
Several main
Swanson
events,
has way more experience.
Yeah. Fought the who's who,
Yeah, he has. Swanson's been in there for a long time. And I mean, it's the same thing with the Duo Choi fight in that you've got another hot contender coming up, undefeated. Oh, by the way, I think Brian Ortega plays guitar.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, but he's probably be one of those guitar players that you would style on, because I get the feeling that he does it mostly to impress girls. Maybe I'm wrong.
I'll challenge Brian Ortega to a guitar battle any fucking day. In fact, I'll challenge anybody to a guitar battle any fucking day. I am not. Whatever. Yeah. Come hear that bullshit. I'm like, whatever, dude.
No, man. Brian Ortega, I don't know. I look at him and I'm like, I don't have a hard time believing that he was a troublemaker when he was younger.
Oh, yeah.
He just looks like the kind of guy who would get into some shit. But yeah, man. This to me is, by the way, this is a great fight. Like, I don't know who's gonna win. I'm not sure if I can make a pick. But I know it's gonna be awesome.
Right.
I mean, Brian Ortega, they both kind of start slow. Brian Ortega has a lot of like 3rd-round submissions where he kind of pull the win out of the hat.
Like exactly.
He was losing right up until he won. He's always reminded me, like I watched him fight years ago. I think it was in Mexico. I forget who it was against, but he had it wasn't like a crackerjack fight. It was like fight of the night. And I was like, this guy is another Diaz brother. That's the vibe I got off him, where he has high volume boxing on the feet. Doesn't have a lot in the way of wrestling, but his submission game is really good. T City is Triangle City, you know what I mean? So,
right.
That's always the vibe I got off Brian Ortega. I'm not. He's pretty lucky / good to be undefeated. I don't know. I don't know who's gonna win. Cub Swanson said he's been training way more wrestling for this fight, and he said something that kind of surprised me but made a lot of sense. That he doesn't really enjoy the grappling training, so sometimes he'd be like going in there once a month to train his wrestling or grappling.
Yeah.
Which actually it explains something for me, because he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, but sometimes you see him get in positions on the ground where you're like, how did they get him there? If he's a he's a black belt, he gets his guard passed or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's not even training grappling, most of the time that makes sense. He said he's done a lot of wrestling for this one. He's been wrestling with like T.J. Dillashaw and those guys. So I don't know, man. I think Swanson has the edge, but it's hard to make for me to make a pick.
Cub Swanson's he's been a favorite of ours for a while.
Oh yeah,
he's just kind of
there's no way
missed
this fight is boring.
Yeah, but he's always missed the title shots, man. I mean, we remember when what was his win streak before he lost to Frankie? He had like
I think it was a 5 or 6 fight win. I think it was a 5 fight win streak. Let me look it up real quick.
Six fight. 1, 2, 3.
Was it really?
Yeah, 6 fight.
Yeah,
he lost to Ricardo Lamas before
now
that.
in the era of like Max Holloway and his like 13 fight win streak, and Tony Ferguson and his like 9 or 10 fight win streak.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like a lot, but a 6 fight win streak is pretty hard to do.
At the time, it was a lot, I mean, because it was still, he was. It just goes to show you what it takes to get a title shot, man. You just got to talk that shit, I mean,
he really, yeah, man. Like he should have gotten a title shot, man. I'm like, it's. I think it's a matter of bad timing for him, and also the fact that Aldo happened to just utterly smoke him back in the WC days with that crazy double knee.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. It's just, yeah, he beat Dustin Poirier. He beat Charles Oliveira. He beat Dennis Seaver, who was ranked at the time. And then he beat Jeremy Stevens. And it was like, all these guys are ranked opponents, I believe, at the time. And then they were like, all right, fine. We'll give you Frankie Edgar. And Edgar is just a nightmare matchup for him.
Oh yeah.
Like I don't know if that he would have beaten Aldo, but Edgar just wrestled the crap out of him.
Oh, dude, Frankie Edgar, man, that's another thing, man. I wish he wouldn't have gotten hurt before this last fight, man, because I wanted to see that Max Holloway fight.
Oh yeah. So I mean, like Max Holloway has all but. Some people are saying like he's all but cleaned out the division, and that's the thing. You never really do that, but he's coming pretty close.
Pretty close.
But I think by the time he fights, they got to make the Frankie Edgar fight again, because who else is he gonna match up with? Like maybe if Cub Swanson wins, I don't think they'll give him the title shot. Like if he wins, he'll be on a 5 fight win streak. But
if he wins I guarantee you, he could get a title shot if he wins in dramatic fashion, and he gets on the mic afterwards and starts talking shit. He could easily get a title shot or something. He could at least be in the talks. Fuck yeah! Look at fucking Colby, dude. Colby Scat, bro. Like that dude. Fucking. I mean, he somehow got himself a fight with Damian Maia, and I mean, very soon he's gonna get a title shot. You know what I mean? Who's Tyron Woodley fighting next? Nobody, right? They haven't talked about it.
He's thinking about getting shoulder surgery.
That's right. And he said if Nate Diaz doesn't sign, but supposedly that was just a ruse. I mean, that was bullshit.
Wait,
that whole situation. Yeah, like the whole situation was just bullshit. Like they weren't actually going to do it anyway. Like the Nate Diaz fight against Tyron Woodley.
Supposedly. Oh, no. You know what, though? That's not true. Dana White loves to come on afterwards and like say, both Nate Diaz and Tyron Woodley are like, Dana White's full of it. We definitely got offered this fight. Dana White claimed that one of our lawyers went off the reservation. No, it was your chief operating officer who is a lawyer, and he was making fight offers. And Dana White's like, oh, he went off the reservation and was just trying to make things happen. Yeah, you probably actually were looking at. I'm sure he was trying to make things happen, but I think Dana White would try to kind of walk that one back because he realized, probably because he doesn't want to give either Nate Diaz or Tyron Woodley the satisfaction of being like, you know what I mean? Especially Nate Diaz, of the satisfaction of being like, oh no, they offered a title fight to me a division up, and I turned it down because they wouldn't pay me enough. Because that's what it was.
Yeah. Well, so Colby Covington's doing Instagram shit and Twitter shit. I'm training for Tyron Woodley or Tyquill, whatever the fuck he calls him. Like NyQuil, but Tyquill. Say what you will. That motherfucker, he's. but my point is, with the Cub Swanson thing, you know, if he gets on there and starts talking some shit easily, man. I mean, that's how all these motherfuckers are getting in. So we'll see what happens, man. But I just, he's not that kind of person, man. He's real quiet, very scary individual. But yeah, hope this is going to be a pretty good fight. I'm pretty excited.
If Brian Ortega wins, he could get a title shot too. So I guess it really depends. I'm trying to figure out. Frankie Edgar supposedly broke his orbital bone, which how? I guess then, like, how long? Do you see this article talking about how full of shit Dana White is? Dana White questions Frankie Edgar's injury. How do you break your orbital bone in training? By getting punched in the face, motherfucker. What the fuck?
What kind of dumbass question is that? As somebody that used to box, for, you know, he was a boxer growing up in Boston. He should fucking know you can break your orbital bone pretty fucking easily when you're getting punched in the fucking face. Like, Miesha Tate broke her fucking orbital bone against was it Holly or Amanda
Raquel.
Nunes? Was it Raquel?
I think it was Raquel. Maybe not. Maybe it was Amanda Nunes. No, but I mean, Cub Swanson. I mean, I guess someone would have to get kind of rough with you in training, but kind of rough. Yeah, you have to be going pretty hard. But Dana White's like saying, like, who's going that hard in training? That's insane, dude. That stuff happens all the time. Cub Swanson broke his jaw in training by, like, Melvin Gillard threw something wild at him. You know what I mean? Like, people get injured in training all the time. Remember Jose Aldo? Someone threw a spinning back kick, you know, like, screwed up his rib. So, I mean, like, people throw hard shit in training. It could have been just, like, a mistimed kick or a knee or whatever, you know? So
talk to the motherfuckers at Black House, dude. Those motherfuckers go hard.
And Frankie Edgar has broke his orbital bone before. Like, he's broken his face before, you know?
So
like,
he's already compromised.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's the first time that's happened, you know what I mean? I broke my nose. I guess that's not as big of a deal, but, I mean, I broke my nose getting jabbed in the face before my first fight. Like, this shit, it's not that difficult to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah, especially in your face, dude. Like, your face isn't as, like, your skull's pretty hard, but, I mean, shit happens, dude. Like, your jaw, I mean, my God. It didn't take but one fucking punch to break your jaw, remember? Like, that guy just threw one punch, and it was boom. He just hit the right fucking spot.
Perfectly timed overhand.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's all it takes. That's why kids don't street fight. Unless you have really good health.
Yeah, seriously, like,
and a lawyer.
Especially if you don't have insurance.
Yeah, don't. Like, that's why these don't have insurance.
Yeah. So I was gonna go on a tangent, but I'm not. But yeah, so I mean, I guess it depends how long he's out from that. If Frankie Edgar is gonna be out for a minute, and, you know, Cub Swanson wins in dramatic fashion, or Brian Ortega wins, that's a fresh challenge. That's an exciting fight. Frankly, I would watch either of those guys rematch him. Right. Cub Swanson, Max Holloway styled on him the first time, and I think he probably would beat him again. That'd be my pick. But Cub Swanson, in my opinion, has gotten better at fighting, like, high volume fights.
Yeah.
I mean, people shit on him for the Artem Lobov fight, and I get it. I mean, it's Artem Lobov, but the fact is, like, they went in there and they set a record. I mean, like, Cub Swanson took a lot of shots, but he also landed a lot, which I think is the key to beating Max Holloway. You've got to be able to throw and land a lot of punches.
You got to stay busy with that guy. Yeah,
because you're probably not going to knock him out, right?
Fuck no.
Like, you've got to be in there, and you've got to be landing more and better punches than he is.
A perfect example.
Swanson has gotten better at that.
Yes. Has gotten better.
He's older.
That's a perfect example. But Max Holloway and Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor didn't knock him out. He won a decision. So that, you know, a perfect example is how busy you're gonna stay. You're probably not gonna knock him out. It's kind of like a Diaz brother. You're not gonna knock out. You're most likely not gonna knock out one of those guys. You know. So how you fare, you got to pace. You got to learn how to pace yourself, and obviously Cub. I don't think Cub has a couple hip tosses. I've never really seen him shoot in on anybody.
Dustin Poirier.
He shot in on Dustin Poirier?
I've seen him shoot before. I'm trying to remember when. Doesn't do it all that often. Usually fighters shoot on him. But I think he shot on Dustin Poirier. I mean, if he's working his wrestling for this fight, I wouldn't necessarily go to the ground a lot with
Ortega.
Brian Ortega, just knowing how good his submissions are.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, who knows? Yeah, I mean, the other thing with Swanson, man, like the things you think of it getting worse when people get older. People claim that Swanson's lost a step or whatever. I don't really see it, man. I see him being essentially the same fighter he always has been. He's just better in the pocket. He spends more time in front of fighters, so you notice that, that he does get hit. But I mean, yeah. His chin hasn't gone. You know what I mean? Like his ability to pull the trigger definitely hasn't gone. So I don't know. I'm excited. Cub Swanson also hasn't finished a fight in a long time.
Right.
And that's always interesting when like fighters who have a reputation for power, like Jeremy Stephens, you think of him as a hard-hitting guy, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
He hasn't knocked anyone out in like a really long-ass time.
Oh wait, who the fuck is that guy? Yeah, got him.
Got him.
Hey, well, yeah, yeah, you're right. He has not knocked, but didn't he go up a weight class?
Jeremy Stephens?
Yeah.
No, he's still at featherweight. He fought, his last fight was at featherweight against Gilbert Melendez, and next he's fighting Joo Ho Choi.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, we literally talked about this on the last podcast, man.
I don't think so.
Yeah, we did.
Maybe.
Well, I talked about it.
Did you record it?
Yes, it's in the last podcast. It's
so.
recorded. It's right at the end there.
We'll figure this out. We'll figure it out. Any other fights on that card that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to seeing Aljamain Sterling versus Marlon Moraes.
Yeah, it's gonna be a badass fight.
Yeah, that's gonna be awesome. And then I'm really looking forward to seeing my boy Mississippi Mean come back.
All right.
Yeah. You know what I'm talking about, right? Jason Knight.
Yeah, man.
That's gonna be awesome. So yeah, I'm extremely stoked for that one. The guy he's fighting, I think he's fighting Gabriel Benitez. So, I'm gonna be yeah. I mean, like that. Jason Knight is he's always exciting, but his last fight he got knocked out by Ricardo Lamas. So he said he's working on improving his skill set so he doesn't take it all on the chin. Right. If he puts together a couple wins, like and he continues to get better, I could see the UFC throwing him in there against Max Holloway too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of younger guys, like guys that have kind of there's a couple guys that have suffered setbacks, like him, what's that guy's name? He's still ranked 15th, but Darren Elkins blasted him. Mirsad Bektic, super entertaining as well. Give him a couple fights, a couple wins, and he could very well be ready for the title fight. Zabit Magomed-Sharapov, I would really love to see him fight Max Holloway. So I don't know. Yeah, featherweight's really interesting. Aljamain Sterling, I swear I saw him at like a mixed rules, like a Sanchow fight in like an amateur fight in upstate New York when he was with Bomb Squad. I could be wrong. I feel like he had gone pro by that time, but maybe they just threw him in there like just as like a glorified sparring session. I can swear possible. I saw him fight. That was back in like 2000. That would have been back in 2012.
Well, when did he start fighting MMA?
He went pro, I think I thought he went pro in like 2010 or 2011.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could be wrong about that.
Maybe you never
know. What's that?
I said you never know.
Yeah, never
Possible.
know. Could have been him. But yeah. So I mean, there's a couple really good fights. I'll be recapping them tomorrow night, so I gotta watch them. So I'm not sad about that.
Right on.
Hey, and we have a boxing match coming up.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be awesome. We got Lomachenko and Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux and Lomachenko, both two-time gold medalists. Rigondeaux in 2000 and 2004. Lomachenko in 2008 and 2012. both of their pro fights now, they don't have a lot of pro fights. Lomachenko has 10 pro fights. Rigondeaux has 17 pro fights. But their amateur records are astounding. Lomachenko, 412 fights. 2 losses in his amateur career.
That's insane.
Rigondeaux.
That like, especially compare that to MMA, that's an insane number of fights.
It's insane, especially with boxing. Rigondeaux, 475 fights. 12 losses in his amateur career. So amateur record combined 872 fights. Amateur.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Both are southpaw. The bigger man's obviously going to be Lomachenko. Rigondeaux, strange enough, has a longer reach. Yeah, it's going to be a great fight, man.
Rigondeaux has a longer reach?
Yeah, he's 168.5 centimeters as opposed to Lomachenko's 166 centimeters.
What the fuck does that even mean? What centimeters?
Dude, I don't fucking know. My thing is like, okay, if you're going to label somebody's height 5 feet and 6 inches, fucking use inches into reach. What the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, why the fuck would you do that? You're already using the fucking imperial system. Don't be a dick and use the fucking reach system like you're fucking pulling out a goddamn meter stick. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck off. Anyways. So, yeah, the last 5 fights, Lomachenko had his last 3 fights. Looks like 3 corner stoppages and 2 KOs. Rigondeaux, KO, corner stoppage.
Yeah, so his last fight was a no contest, right?
Whose last fight?
Rigondeaux's.
I think it was a knockout. Might have been a no contest.
So apparently, I was listening to one of the other podcasts I listened to, and they were saying that he looks like he's lost a step, and his last fight was like he hit the guy after the bell after the first round. But I mean, yeah, man, I'm always happy to see Lomachenko fight, and I'm happy to see him fight someone who whose name I know. Like I don't follow boxing all that closely, but I know.
There's just so many different things, man. There's another fight going on this weekend at HBO boxing. It's like there's so many things to follow. It's really hard.
Yeah, I mean it's impossible. I mean unless you're single and this is all you do.
Yeah.
Like I really don't see how you can live a life and like follow everything. That's why I rely on Twitter to show me the highlights. You know what I mean? Like if something spectacular happens, I'll probably see it. But yeah, man, I'm on the scale of like casual to like super hardcore fans. I'm pretty close to being a casual fan. I really mostly watch UFC. I like watching Bellator if it's good, but it's harder for me to keep up with like pretty much anything else.
It's just because boxing, there's so much shit to follow, dude.
But I mean, hey, Max Holloway gave a shout to Lomachenko after his last weekend's performance, which, by the way, we haven't discussed at all. UFC 218. But yeah, he's like, I Lomachenko'd him, which is pretty awesome. I mean,
that was funny.
If Max Holloway is watching and learning from Vasyl Lomachenko, he can't go wrong. He can only get better.
Yeah, for real. You're right. It was a no contest. It was originally a KO against Moises Flores. Hope I said that right.
Oh yeah.
It was incorrect. Yeah, it was an incorrect referee call. So yeah, must have been after the bell. Yeah, the fights this week, last weekend, man. What was your favorite on the card?
Man, this is gonna be weird, but I really liked Max Holloway versus Jose Aldo.
I thought you were going to say Sergio Pettis. I was about to be pissed.
Oh yeah, that would have been hilarious if someone just comes out and just claim that they like enjoyed that fight more than the other
really
fights that
see
went
Henry coming into his element. Henry's just really Sergio had nothing. He couldn't answer anything. Yeah, I could just see some asshole. Yeah, the Jose Aldo fight and the Max Holloway fight, I was not that excited for, because I already knew what was going to happen, and I've seen it before. I was more excited about the Francis Ngannou fight.
Which, that, by the way, that fucking delivered. Max Holloway or Francis Ngannou. Do you think he's going to be a big star? Like, do you think he's
Ngannou?
He's going to be? Yeah.
If they do it right, he can be. If they market him correctly, he can totally. If you get the right marketing team and press, totally. He's not going to go that. He just does not need to go that Conor McGregor route. Everybody tries to do that. It doesn't necessarily work. He's a very nice guy. His story in itself could really change that for him. If he's the probably the biggest heavyweight we have since Brock, and that's saying a lot. Brock was superstar. There's no way. I don't think he can necessarily maybe not be that level, but he could be if they market him right. Tell his story.
I feel like
he's a scary motherfucker. Yeah. He's scary, terrifying.
He's very scary, and like the fact that he. I mean, I don't know. I don't. He's not going to be Conor McGregor where he's able to kind of spin his own storylines. And you're right. Like they shouldn't try to make him into that. He's much more. But there's. You're right. The story is there to sell him. Just like Ronda Rousey kind of had a storyline kind of in place, or 3 or 4 storyline.
Yeah.
The fact that this guy is scary. I mean, that's a storyline in and of itself. Like the fact that he just knocks people the fuck out. And they go to sleep hard. Like Overeem has been knocked out a lot. Never quite like that, man. Like
dude, that was scary, man.
It was frightening. I mean, you saw it live, and I didn't. I caught it later, but like, what was it like seeing that just happen in front of you?
Well, number one, that's not what freaked me out. What really freaked me out, Overeem tried to clinch. He tried to clinch him, and
just
tried to push him against the cage.
Yeah.
And Ngannou stood there and muscled him. He didn't use his momentum. He literally just stood there, and Overeem's trying to move him, and Ngannou just moves, like muscles him and pushes him, walks him to the cage and holds him against the cage, and there's nothing he could do. I'm like, fuck me. That's a strong ass. Because you could tell Overeem, as soon as he grabbed him, he's like, oh, I'm a heavyweight, but this is like, oh my God. This is oh my God strength. And then whenever he knocked him out, when he started striking with him, and he got into that range, that mid-range shit, bro.
Yep.
I was like, oh, it's any time. And boom, sure enough, dude. Boom. Uppercut. Lights out. He forgot math. Like, that's how hard he got hit. He doesn't know how to. He can't balance his checkbook anymore. That's how hard he got hit.
Yeah, man, that was.
It was ridiculous.
So, how we actually get to see his fight with Stipe pretty soon. It's
January 20th?
They put it on the same card as DC Vulcan. UFC was it UFC 220? That's gonna be amazing.
January 20th. It's gonna be day before my birthday, man. I'm excited.
Oh, happy birthday to you, man. This is a birthday present right there. Who are you rooting for, and how do you think that'll go?
Which one?
Stipe Ngannou.
I think Stipe has the tools to win, obviously, but you know, in that heavyweight division, man, it's weird because you get caught, boom, and you know we saw him get fucking caught by Alistair. If he gets caught by Ngannou, there's no fucking way he's gonna bounce back from that shit. I mean that's just another level of power. I don't think anybody can stand up to that shit. So
I feel like you have to fight a perfect fight, and the thing is like
stay out of range.
Yeah, Stipe could knock him out too. I mean, like Stipe has 5 wins in a row. 4 of them are first round KOs. So he has the power himself. Like we've never seen Ngannou really rocked or really bothered by anyone else's power, which that could be interesting. Keeping the jab in his face could be interesting. But yeah, and it feels like that's gonna be one where Stipe is gonna have to be really conscious of range.
Sure, absolutely. He's gonna have to be.
Like you said,
either gonna be inside, or he's gonna be fucking way outside. He has to fucking figure that shit out.
Yeah, he's got to box him up. He's got to stay, and by box him up, I mean keep him all the way on the end of his jab. Or you know what I mean? Like Stipe has a range that he's comfortable with, and I think it's a little bit longer than Ngannou's, but he's got to be real conscious he doesn't make a mistake. Like
right, he gets caught.
Stipe does well, kind of right on the end of his shots. When he gets in closer, like when he pressures, which he's gotten pretty good at that. Like he has punches he can land, but they're nothing like Ngannou can throw at him. Yeah, so absolutely. Yeah, man, it'll be fun, man. This is the best heavyweight title fight I think that we've had in years.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, I'm hoping Stipe can show him some deeper waters and test him a little bit. But honestly, like I don't even know who to root for. Stipe's been one of my guys for a long time, but Ngannou's.
I'm gonna root
awesome.
for Ngannou. I want to see. I like change. I like new shit. Yeah.
So how about that fight on the prelims, man? How about Alex Oliveira versus Yancy Medeiros?
That was the fucking craziest fight I've seen in a long time. That shit, that fight ruined the Gaethje fight for me because I was ready for that bloodbath Eddie Alvarez Gaethje fight, and that fucking fight ruined that fight for me because I was expecting, all right, guys, got to live up to this, and it wasn't anywhere near as bloody as that one. That shit was violent as fuck.
Yeah, man. That like, it's one of those fights like I'm gonna have to go back. I didn't see it, and I'm gonna have to go back once it's on Fight Pass.
Yeah.
And watch that because like apparently it was just. I saw a couple of the knockdowns,
Chaos.
But like, just apparently all of it was just wild, just insane.
It was chaos. Yeah, I thought Yancy lost. Like he was about to get knocked the fuck out in the first round.
Yancy is so tough, man.
Dude, he's tough as fuck. But yeah, man, it was a fucking crazy fight, man. I was not expecting that. Yeah, I had a headache watching that shit, man. I was like, God. Fuck me. You know that motherfucker's head's hurting right now.
Oh, it has to be. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I mean, like, how do you? Yeah. Yeah. That was awesome.
That's wild.
So what? It's kind of pivoting back. What's next for someone like Jose Aldo?
Soccer.
But like that's a serious answer though. I mean,
yeah.
If you lose like that in the division was your division for 10 years, and then you go back and you lose again, but just like the same fashion but worse.
Yeah.
I mean,
you gotta quit.
Yeah, because like Max Holloway's not going anywhere anytime soon. Like, even if Frankie Edgar beats him, and we know Jose Aldo can beat Frankie Edgar, but like. Max Holloway is always going to be right there. He's so much younger. He's going to be right there at the top of the division. Even if Aldo, like, if something crazy were to happen, he was somehow to reclaim featherweight gold. Like, he's got that. Max Holloway is right there. You know what I mean? Like, you either retire or you have to maybe take a retirement fight. Like one last fight, or you got to change divisions.
Right.
I
don't think he's going to change divisions. I think we saw his teammate do that shit.
Yeah, true. But I mean, we've always talked about how hard that weight cut is for Aldo. I mean, like, how do you think he would do at lightweight?
He's got another danger in Tony Ferguson, who's just as fucking tough as Max, man. If not tougher,
Fuck me, that's true.
You got Khabib, you got Edson Barbosa, you got these killers that are fantastic strikers and bigger.
I would love to see him versus Khabib or Edson Barbosa, though.
Yeah. They both match up pretty good either way. Aldo's got good wrestling. I see Khabib wrestling the shit out of him, though.
Nah, man, I don't know. That's Aldo, by the way, that's Aldo's best skill set. Hands down by far.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you really think Habib would ragdoll him?
Yeah. I don't think he'd ragdoll him, but I think he'd wrestle the shit out of him. I don't know if he'd
Oh
ragdoll
man,
him.
honestly, that's the fight I want to see most. If somehow Edson Barbosa manages to like,
but think about what John Fitch said about Habib. Remember that?
that he's insanely strong. Yeah, but so was Jose Aldo,
for
man.
his-
You saw,
Yeah, but
dude. You saw,
he said it's just
dude.
another level.
Frankie Edgar
I know.
wrestled everyone, man. Like,
I
and
know, but I think
Aldo shut him off like
Habib,
he was a child.
Somebody that's a specialist though. I mean, Habib is it's just different. I don't think he ragdolls him, but I definitely think he beats him. And
I've always wanted to see
Barbosa.
Jose Aldo fight. Like, I always wanted to see him fight like George St. Pierre at lightweight.
Oh, I
just
know,
because.
Yeah.
What was that?
I said I know. Yeah, me too.
Just because he like if you're building an anti-wrestler, Jose Aldo is the prototype. I think he's the best anti-wrestler the sport has ever seen. Like, I mean,
I think you know what? I would like to see him at lightweight. Actually, that would be kind of cool. I just don't think it's gonna be prime Jose Aldo, but that's okay because he's getting older. Maybe the weight cut's fucking with him. Maybe, who knows?
I mean, he clearly has a stamina issue.
Well, yeah.
I mean, yeah. I mean, he clearly has a stamina issue. But yeah, I would love to see him at lightweight. Just a couple matchups. Even if he didn't get to the title, even if he never fought someone like Tony Ferguson, like even to see, just so he could fight. So someone in the comments, like I'm stealing from someone in the comment section, but it was like even if it just means that he fights his last couple fights where he doesn't have to make this horrendous weight cut, that seems like a win to me. I don't know, you know.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
And
yeah, dude, that'd be a good fight.
I would love to see him against Edson Barbosa too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be a crazy fight. Edson and Khabib are fighting. That's gonna be interesting.
Oh yeah, man! Did you see the new poster for Cyborg Holm and Habib Barbosa?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
It's pretty cool. I enjoyed it, but like both those fights are pretty awesome. But the really important thing about the Alvarez Gaethje fight, which I did see a parts of that, and like I was really impressed with Eddie Alvarez. Like you know what I've realized, the conclusion that I've come to, Justin Gaethje doesn't actually hit all that hard.
Right.
Like shot for shot. I like he looks like he's throwing everything into it, but I really think he wears people down more than like he rocks them, because the number of times that he just loads up on shots and like cracks people and they stay standing there.
Mm-hmm.
To me that means like he can't be hitting as hard as it looks like he's hitting them.
He's just real tough. He's definitely gonna have to figure something out for the next fight. He can't keep doing what he was doing in World Series of Fighting like that. I mean, it just. I don't know if
worked against Michael
like
Johnson.
He's gonna get. It worked against Michael Johnson. Barely got caught. You know, he could have got knocked the fuck out there too. You know.
True. But I mean, like here's the thing with the Alvarez and the Johnson fights. Like they show that he can. Like, I was worried that he was gonna get knocked out really early, like right off the bat.
Yeah.
And he didn't. Like he lasted until the third round. He ate like 21. Like hard body shots, so like you know what I mean. Like it's like it's not like what's that?
Yeah. Just say the more he eats, the more his brain gets fragile, the less he's gonna be able to take it. Was what I'm saying. He's working his technique a little bit more if he's gonna be striking like that. I mean, it'll go at some point.
You think he should like focus on maybe his wrestling a little bit more? And
in a fight,
maybe,
yeah, absolutely. He's a fucking world class wrestler. You know, I don't know. I mean, I think he just likes to brawl. It's just his preference. I guess I don't know. He likes to be the exciting fight. You know, he likes people to talk about that, which is cool. It's fine, but career longevity is very important. And however long you can sustain your mental health and your physical health in a sport that's so brutal, and you really don't have any other outlets going on. I mean, I don't really think he has any other options. It's probably best if you consider that shit early on, you know.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's true.
I would like
but,
to see him consider that.
Yeah. I mean, I think he has stuff he wants to do after fighting already. Like he wants to get into like social work and stuff like that. And he's gotten 2 fight of the night bonuses already, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's making a little bit of extra money, which is never a bad thing.
Yeah.
Eddie Alvarez, I think is just really good in certain ranges.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that it makes the Conor McGregor fight look all the more impressive when you see Eddie Alvarez come out and like just blast someone like this, you know, like hang in there with them for 3 rounds and then just, you know, take him out with the knee at the very end.
Right, that was brutal.
Yeah, but I mean, like I don't know, for Justin Gaethje, it's tough to figure out like where he goes from here, because I don't think it's one of those things where like, oh man, he's done at all, you know, like Dustin Poirier got knocked out by Michael Johnson, you know, in like quicker and worse fashion than this, and he you know, he's right back in there with the top guy. So Gaethje, I think, is going to be around for years. I think he's got to maybe add a little bit of wrestling to his game. Now that doesn't make him less violent, you know, if he takes someone down and beats them up on the ground, you know, for parts of a round. But
absolutely, Mark Coleman was fucking terrifying back in the day, and that's all he fucking did, was take people down on the ground and pound the shit out of them.
Yeah, I mean, Poirier's been doing
Mark
that.
Kerr.
Yeah. Khabib does that. I mean, like, yeah, like
Kerr?
that's always been a legitimate, like, a very entertaining thing. So I mean, I don't know. I kind of want to see him fight Cerrone, but I think Cerrone's got another fight lined up next. But yeah, man.
Me.
So I've been watching Lomachenko and Rigondeaux highlights, and now I'm really excited. I'm really stoked for this.
Watch the Gary Russell Jr. fight with Lomachenko?
I don't know. I'm watching a bunch of highlights. Like, it's taking me through both their careers.
Watch the Gary Russell Jr. fight. It's a really good fight.
I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking early on, like, Rigondeaux is probably going to do pretty well. But then if Lomachenko gets going, man, like, it's probably going to be Lomachenko in the later rounds. But
yeah, I'm gonna. I wonder who's gonna be showing that. If any sports bars are showing
ESPN.
That fight.
ESPN. So
it's gonna be on ESPN.
Definitely. Yeah.
Fuck. All right. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So definitely into that one.
All right, man.
Yeah. So I think about covers it, right? Like, we got anyway, what I was saying about the Khabib Barboza fight is, like, that one's definitely for a top contender bout now, right? Like, assuming that we don't see Conor McGregor defend that title anytime soon, like, especially if Khabib wins, and especially if he can make weight this time, they probably make that Khabib Ferguson fight for like the 5th time. If Gaethje had won, Gaethje would have had a claim to it, but they're not going to put Eddie Alvarez back in there.
You think they'll start making #1 contender medals? And they'll have, like, interim #1 contender medals number. You know what I mean? Fuck up the rankings.
While they're handing out useless pieces of hardware and, like, making up numbers to, like, rank the divisions, yeah, might as well start handing out gold medals, but, like, instead of gold, just, like, cheap plastic.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, but all right, man. Where can they find you at?
Well, the people can find me on Twitter and Facebook at Vorpality, VORPALITY. Definitely follow me on both platforms to hear my stupid ass opinions. You can also find my writing on MMA Mania at the Midnight Mania series. I also do recaps on the weekends, and I do the morning after column at MMA Mania. And AJ, how about you? Where can the people find you for a guitar battle?
You can find me on Twitter, AJAYHERRICK, Instagram on the same platform. and Facebook, obviously. Check out my new band page, Slave the Verb. Go and have a like. You'll see shows and all that bullshit where you can find us. Usually playing in the Houston area. Maybe we'll venture out to Colorado or something this coming year. That's what we're kind of talking about, doing like a little road trip tour. So
Road trip.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for listening
Yeah, that
to
was an
the
awkward
MMA
silence.
Outsiders, and we'll see you. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
So AJ,